Ladies and gentlemen, welcome again to our second episode of Bima Beamer. Thank you so much for watching and subscribing and for the success of episode 1. For episode 2, we have two gentlemen today, still from Minet, Kenya. And the discussion today is going to be around motor insurance claims. I know in between there, we are also going to discuss just some general claims in case some questions come up, but we want to focus on motor insurance claims. Being a customer of motor insurance and having a motor vehicle, we have all experienced that time when you hoped your underwriter is going to pay for a damage cost either through an accident or maybe you just hit the car somewhere, and then you start to be taken round in circles. We'll pay, maybe it's not going to be paid, the cost is too little and so much. So today we want to discuss the no's and do and don'ts of motor insurance claims. My name is Carolyne Nekesa, and with me I have two gentlemen who are going to introduce themselves. Then we can begin. Okay. We can start with the gentleman on my immediate left.
Yeah, thank you for this opportunity. I go by the name of Nicodemus Makori. I am the internal assessor for Minet under the corporate division, MRS Claims. Thank you for the opportunity.
Also called engineer.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and my name is Patrick Omoro. I'm head of claims at Minet. And I think we are going to have a very fruitful discussion today.
Yeah. Most importantly, why claims don't get paid.
Very important. It's an emotive issue.
Is it?
Yes.
Okay. So to start us off, Patrick, let's take us just through the whole process of making a motor insurance claim. What is the customer supposed to do? What is the basic steps of making a motor insurance claim? And when you're discussing, also tell us what are some of these documents that the customer needs to have when making a motor insurance claim, just in basic language.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Now, when we think of motor insurance claims, maybe we start by looking at what a claim is first. Now, a claim is just your demand to the insurance company against the policy you had taken for them to pay you what they had promised when you were taking that cover. And more often than not, what the insurance company has promised to pay you comes in what in insurance parlance we would call a coverage and the benefits. But basically what it means, in a motor insurance policy, the insurance covers you for accidental damage to that vehicle. It also covers you should that vehicle get stolen. And in addition to that, while using that vehicle, there are those moments in an accident situation, you have interacted with the third parties. Either they have banged your car or you have banged their car, and people may also be injured. So in the same motor policy, you'll find yourself that you are also covered for circumstances whereby you have banged somebody's car and they have made a demand to you. Or if you knock somebody, you have injured them, you are also covered for that. So your insurance company will come to take care of that. Now, critical is that immediately an accident happens, most of the time it's a very stressful moment.
Yeah.
And, in Minet we say that's the time you need somebody to walk the journey with you from the very moment that happens.
It's true, to hold your hand.
Yes. And we would say what I described earlier, in insurance terms, it's actually upstream. So immediately something has happened, you still require somebody to hold your hand. You are into that rapids, turbulent waters.
Yeah.
So who will help you swim there? Then we have the Minet claims team. Now, the immediate thing you need often to do is, of course, to ensure that everyone is safe from an accident scene. vehicles can be repaired, but not human beings. Whether the person was in your vehicle, whether you are the one injured or the third party, just ensure everybody is safe first. That's very critical. Then immediately after that, if it is possible, get in touch with us at Minet, because for each of our clients, we have put in a dedicated person who looks after the client, whether the claim is there or not. So we are preempting, we are proactive, that
Preparing.
even before the claim comes, there's somebody who is ready to assist, to walk that journey with you. So at the scene of the accident, what is it you are supposed to do? Of course, we are assuming that you have ensured you are safe and all is well.
Yeah.
Then what then remains is just how to manage the scene. Now, if you are able to call your assistant from Minet, the person who will walk the journey with you from the point of claims, most likely that person will tell you that take details of the scene. If you can be able to take photos, take photos so that you have a record of the scene. Nowadays, I think things are even made better, that some of the phones we have, they can geotag the GPS coordinates. So when taking the photo,
It
just
geotags.
activates it so that it actually picks the location of the accident. Now, it is also critical that you take a view from a slightly different, a slight distance away, such that if it is the motor vehicle, you take a photo that actually captures it, including the number plate.
Oh, okay.
And also, just alongside that, capture the third party vehicle that you are involved in. Of course, we are conscious that even when you are able to take graphical images of people who are injured, I think that one we would advise you exercise a bit of caution.
But now, can you, should you take the images of injured people?
Of course, even if you take, nobody will expect you to share them out, because definitely there's the Privacy Acts that would determine that, and also the humanitarian aspect. Because you see, as soon as you take somebody's image, it's graphical, you'll require their permission to share it out there.
Yeah. So what's your advice?
So my advice is, if just steer away from taking those graphical images of injured people.
Okay.
It's not really important. It will not help your claim in any way. Now, it's important then immediately also to involve the police, because ordinarily the police are trained to come and assess the accident scene and take measurements, and also they are able to establish who might have been the cause of that particular accident. From there, they would issue a police abstract. But maybe let me give a caveat at that point. And that's where now in claims problems normally start. Now you find that an accident has happened, and then you want to interfere with the scene. Maybe you want to be creative so that when the policeman comes, they'll think that you are the innocent one out of there.
Yeah.
Problems start from there, because as soon as you interfere with the scene, when the policeman comes, the first thing they are likely to ask, where did this thing happen and who moved? The person who moved, regardless of whether you were innocent, you are likely to be blamed for the accident.
Really? Even if I was the one who was hit from behind and I just moved my car slightly?
You see, at that point when the policeman comes and you have already interfered with the scene, then the debate is she said, he said. So there's really no evidence. So for the police, as the law would demand, that in an accident situation, the law says stop.
Okay.
So once you stop, it means you allow the policeman to come and make that decision.
Sasa na kama umefungia traffic,
still it's the policeman to make the decision. Because as soon as you move, then you are agreeing to take any liability arising from there. So that's very critical. Now, I was going through what you need to do from the scene.
Yeah.
So immediately after that, of course, I'm assuming you are still following the guidance given by your contact at Minet.
Yeah.
Now, immediately after that, often you will require, if the vehicle is still mobile, then the policeman has taken the details, then you just let the policeman, what are the next steps? I know ordinarily the policemen demand that even when the vehicle is mobile, that all of you drive to the police station. But really, it's not law. The truth is, you can tell the policeman that at an agreed time you can avail yourself to the police station, of course, if required, and especially where we have cases of injury.
Okay.
You'll need to avail yourself. But for a certain category of vehicles, the policemen would want to retain that vehicle. The vehicles we would classify as commercial vehicles. Pickups fall into that category. They'll want to take those ones for inspection. So definitely from the accident scene, the policemen would want to, that vehicle is taken to the police station and it might be retained there pending, it's called inspection.
Okay.
Yes. Now, for other vehicles, if it is mobile, just agree with the policeman. You don't have to go to the police station. Unless really the situation really demands, like what I was talking about, he said, she said, where you are really arguing at the scene, there's a dispute, the policeman will tell you, let's all drive to the police station. Now, what if the vehicle is not mobile? It's so damaged that it can't move on its own. Again, there, Minet comes in very handy. Because we would be organizing a tow truck to take that vehicle from the scene. Or to recover that vehicle. Say you got from the accident, you even landed in a ditch. You know, we normally say there's the recovery, removing you from a ditch is what we normally complicate and just call recovery. Then there's the towing bit of it, whereby we are now moving this vehicle to a safe location pending assessment by the insurance company. Now, for me, that's the first step that is critical. Then, once we are away from the scene, of course, there's the other element now that you are dealing with, what kind of documentation you need to provide.
Yeah.
Now, the very basic document that you must provide for any claim is a record of what really happened. And this record, in the very first instance, maybe you'll need to write, or if you have called the Minet person, your contact at Minet, they will have recorded the initial circumstances.
Okay.
But
on your behalf.
Yes.
Okay.
But you'll be required to complete a claim form. Now, at this point of the claim form, you know, the claim form is really the official document that you are making a claim against your policy. So without that, really, officially, you have not made a claim.
Yeah.
So in filling the claim form, I think as we talk, you noted I'm putting in some very critical pointers. At the point of the claim form, you know, most people would love to be creative. Now that this thing has happened, let me put it in such a way that it is very easy to the insurer.
Yeah.
Now that's where we get it wrong.
Okay.
So if an accident happened that the person in front, maybe they took a sudden break or they decided to slow down such that it's not the normal flow which the rest of the traffic was moving. So you also decide to brake, but you are not fast enough.
Yeah.
So you end up banging
Hitting.
them.
Yeah.
Don't start getting creative and you say, this person,
Yeah.
they just stopped the car on the road and they are to blame. Now put that in a claim form. Then suddenly you are headed to a route whereby
Your
you'll
claim
be
will be
told,
rejected.
okay, fine. You are saying they stopped on the road, but you still drove and hit them. You see, you start contradicting. Now, at that point, the insurer will also want to know the truth. They'll put in an investigator. Now, investigators, the line of questioning, most of us are not very good in English. And our normal usage of language, if there's a way, if you are asked, you are about to answer in a different way in which you have understood it. Now, if it is recorded, it will come out like you contradicted yourself.
Yeah.
Now, you put that in the claim form. From the accident scene, it was very clear what really happened. Normal accident. But what you put in the claim form, for example, it was a frontal impact. But you also add claims of rare impact, yet there was no impact from behind. It was not involved at all. You put all of it on the claim form, hoping that
they will
let
cover
me
both.
improve my vehicle
Yeah.
wholesome. Now, as soon as you put it to the insurance company, you have penned it and put it on a claim form.
Yeah.
That is the start of your claim having problems. Because insurance is based on trust.
Yeah.
And as soon as you are untruthful, you have breached what I would call the utmost good faith. It's just saying, whatever I say, I give my word that it is fully truthful and it should be relied on exactly that way. But now, on the claim form, you have already, it was a frontal impact. You have indicated that there's a rare impact. So we have to rely on what you have put on the claim form. Regardless of the truth you tell later, you are tied. And the insurer is entitled to actually decline the whole claim.
In totality.
And I would say that's normally also the start of disputes.
So is the client, can the client be allowed to rectify their claim form?
Thank you very much. And that is where...
That is like changing statement.
Not really. That's where Minet again, we said we are walking the journey with you. So that document, once you have filled it in, you bring it to us, you give the person walking the journey with you, he will look at it. And remember, you had called this person, and he will tell you, look, what you have indicated here goes beyond what you had told me earlier. Could you can we have a discussion and you clearly narrate this thing properly to me again? And then I would guide you. Because also, what I'm simply saying in a nutshell, what you put into that claim form makes the claim or breaks it.
Yeah.
And your broker, it's very critical that we look at it and we form what we call a claim statement. How best can we present this to the insurance company so that first, it is aligned to what you are covered for, and not just aligned to what you are covered for, you get the maximum coverage. You get the maximum out of what you are covered for. For example, there's the bit I talked about, of course, the towing and recovery. There's a benefit so that you can recover from there. And also, there's the repairs on that vehicle. Now, there are certain repairs that sometimes may be excluded. But how do you prepare your claim statement? Because you can say it in a way that actually it will not be paid. For example, you had bought your tires and replaced them yesterday. Then quickly you forget, and when asked the condition of the tires, you can only you even, because of the urgency of the situation, the tensions in the situation, you forget that I've had the tires for 4 years, yet you replaced them just the other day. So you have forgotten a little detail around there. Your broker becomes very helpful at that point. So it's very critical that all the information, your broker vets it first. And that's where we really come in handy. Then we present it to the insurance company. You know, you are not an expert in insurance. We are. And that's why in the relationship, you are actually your agent on it. It's an agency relationship. I'm an expert in my area. You are supposed to be focusing on your business. So it is me who will then present it very properly to the insurance company so that you are paid very well. And then for you, you don't have to follow it. I'll be following it on your behalf. So it's very critical at that point. Thank you.
Okay. So let's come to you, Nick.
Yes.
You're an engineer. I was told you are actually a qualified mechanical engineer.
Yes.
So the client has gotten an accident.
Yes.
And they've informed the broker. The broker has given them information on what to present, what to do at that scene, involve the police and everything. Where do you come in?
Yeah, thank you again for this opportunity to talk to our clients out there, outside there, and also our potential clients, and also to educate them on the nitty-gritties of the insurance.
Yeah.
So from the side where Minet is a broker, who is an agent to the client. So most probably where I come in is mostly whereby you find when now there's a issuance of the repair authority. Unfortunately, there are some times where maybe you find some parts have been omitted, or something has not been seen. And now the way of our operation under the motor assessment in Minet, we go around garages to see what is happening to our clients' vehicles, those that have been authorized and those that have not been authorized. So that by the time you receive this authority, you have the knowledgeable of what happened to this vehicle and where is the extent of the damage. So where we come in, at times you find there are some parts that have been omitted, or some parts have been damaged to an extent where they cannot be repaired satisfactorily. And then now the underwriter sees they want to save some few costs here and there, they force repairs on this unit. So we do come in, talk to the underwriter, tell them, hey, look at what is happening here. This part cannot be repaired satisfactorily because it's damaged beyond repair. We advocate for the client, and then the client is given that part for replacement, and there's that betterment of that vehicle after the accident repairs. Again, there are others where you meet, maybe there's some parts have been omitted due to errors, or even just because somebody wants to try and see is somebody really watching. There are even at times like some parts that cannot be repaired, but somebody just leaves outside there, maybe to try and save some costs, or to try and see is somebody watching. So we come in, we talk to the insurance company again and tell them, look, this, for example, most of them that I've seen is the bracket of the headlight.
Headlight bracket.
The headlight bracket. Most of them they feel is a minimal damage, and then it doesn't warrant replacement of the whole unit. So we come in, talk to the insurance company with our technical expertise, and then we find we have been able to defend to this client. And then mostly again we're involved in declinatures, whereby maybe a claim is declined by the insurer on technical grounds, whereby now Minet, each claim handler is gifted technically differently. But now, like me now, I'm a bit gifted differently as far as the automotive is concerned. So that's where we come in. We look at where is the possibility where we can help this client so that they can be paid. Because at times, as I said, the underwriter, they just do try to see that, like trying to test the waters. Are you really watching? Is there somebody there
Who knows?
who can think
Yeah,
beyond?
yeah.
So fortunately, Minet, we are blessed technically. That's where we come in, and we have been able to overturn most of these declinatures.
Okay. So now, because you come in when now the vehicle has been approved for repair.
Yes.
They could be selection of garage.
Yes.
In this case.
Yes.
So do we select the garage as a client, or does Minet select the garage on behalf of the client?
So mostly what happens, due to there are some different underwriters operate differently.
Okay.
There are some who have what we call assessment centers, and in these assessment centers, maybe let me just walk us through that process briefly.
Yes.
You find out your vehicle, maybe you've been involved in an accident, maybe you have been told to tow to the police station, as Patrick had earlier explained. After the police station, we are told now, take it to the assessment center before it is taken out to the garage.
Yeah.
So what happens basically there, the assessment center is where now the vehicle is assessed, whereby maybe through the internal assessors for the underwriters, or they invite external assessors. And then now when they assess the vehicle, they list the damaged parts, and then they send it out to their list of garages, what they call panel of garages, because also the underwriters, they have certain garages that work for them in different regions of the country. So now when they send this, the garages do what we call bidding, of which now the most competitive bid is the one that wins the work for that, maybe for that repair for that vehicle. And then alternatively now, for those that don't have assessment centers, you find through maybe our dedicated claims handlers, Minet does not select garages for clients, because different clients have different preferences of their garages. So what we do, maybe for a certain underwriter, the dedicated claim handler will share the list of garages in their panel, and then the client would select.
Okay.
But also maybe if the client has a preferred garage that is not within their panel, then we go through a route that is called cash in lieu. Cash in lieu is where now, since the insurer does not have an arrangement with the client's garage, the client will make an arrangement with the garage, the vehicle is repaired, maybe they do a quotation, assessment is done just the normal way, and then maybe like 50%, 75% with the underwriter is given to the garage, work is done, and then the rest is reimbursed to the client.
Okay.
So basically that is how it happens.
Okay, so you've answered two of the questions I had.
Yes.
Now, what are some of the red flags that might indicate a garage is not good, it's not trustworthy, they are not able to handle a vehicle repair?
Yeah, also under the motor assessors, internal motor assessor under in claims in Minet, part of also of our job is to go around to audit the repairs that for the vehicles of our clients that are going on. So through this, we are able to know this person is gifted in this kind of work, or this person, this is his level of work. There are others who do body works perfectly well. There are others who do mechanical work perfectly well. There are others who specialize on European vehicles, others who specialize on Japanese vehicles, others, there are even the local dealers who do some dealers like now Toyota and everybody. So some of the things that maybe you might see and say, this guy does not really know what he's doing. Most of them, they'll be very stingy with information when you go looking for information. Yeah, trying to asking maybe where are we on this? Are you importing the parts, or what is happening? Have we bought the parts? Where are we? Can you give us a time frame? Most of them, you'll find that they're trying to hide this information. They're trying to work in secrecy, maybe because they want to do some shortcut, or maybe some part that was awarded for replacement, they want to repair it, but they don't want an eye that is watching. So a garage that is that is stingy on information, and then maybe most of them, again, you'll see they'll bar you even from seeing the vehicle. They can even bar the client from seeing the vehicle. these are a very serious red flag. And mostly when we are during our visits, when we find a garage it is behaving in this way, because these garages, they represent the underwriters, but now this client is ours, and bad service to our client is bad service to Minet.
Yeah.
It depreciates as Minet. So what we do, we talk to the underwriters and tell them, hey, this garage in your panel is behaving this way. We want better services. We can even red list it so that none of our client again can go through that experience. So those are some of the red flags of some garages that might not want to do the best to our clients.
Okay. So
Yeah.
if a garage damages a client's vehicle,
Yes.
or during repair, something else is done that is not good. And
Yes.
sometimes for that vehicle, you'll realize maybe after driving it for a month
Yeah.
or even 2 weeks, then things start falling off.
Yeah.
What is the process for the client to come back and say, by the way, I brought my car for repairs,
Yes.
and in the process, I think I've noticed this part and this part is not working well. What is the timeline, or do we have a timeline where the customer can come back and say, I don't think these repairs were done well?
Yeah.
And if it's past that timeline, then what happens? And if a client comes back and complains about a repair, what are the steps that we take to ensure that we correct?
Yeah. First of all, most of the, as I have seen, most of the practice in the industry, for repairs, they give around timeline of 2 to 3 weeks, even others to a month. And we do advise our clients, once you feel something, just report it as soon as possible. Because these vehicle parts, they are also at times prone to wear and tear.
Yeah.
So that as far as you use it, its life is dimming in and out. So we do advise our client, as far as anytime you just feel anything, and maybe just anything, just talk to us so that we can again see the relationship to the accident and report it to the insurer as soon as possible. There are even instances where you feel maybe a vehicle was resprayed or was repainted, and then after some time there is some paint reaction.
Yeah.
At times it takes a week, 2 weeks, even others a month. So we have created channels in which the clients can reach to us, and then we can go to the insurer. We tell them, hey, look, this panel, maybe for example the bonnet, was sprayed and it's reacting. So basically it can never be to the client. So we do try to advocate to the client, to advocate for the client, to the insurer, so that the client can feel the worth of Minet in this line of business.
So in that case, the garage will be compelled to repair.
Yeah, they'll be compelled to repair, but first of all, it passed through the insurance company, the underwriter, because now it is their service provider. We don't have a direct link to these garages or to any service provider. So it's through the underwriter. Then from the underwriter, they're compelled to repair, and then we push so that at least the client can get the best of what they deserve.
Okay.
Yeah.
You wanted to say something about that, Patrick?
Yes, maybe I can just add some of the what we see as red flags in garages. You see, for me, for us from where we sit, the kind of experience that we take the customer through, our client, it's very key. So one of the things, yes, the vehicle belongs to the client, and the client has taken the vehicle to the garage.
Yeah.
They are the repairer.
Yeah.
But how they treat the customer is very key for us, and normally it's a red flag. If the garage, for example, starts giving conflicting information, on one side, we have advised the client on the correct thing to do. Then we notice that the garage is trying to undo that and telling the client some untruths, what is not really the situation. For example, if from the damage assessment, a part has been awarded, then, and it's normally common, especially with the tires, a tire has been awarded, but the garage turns around and tells the client directly that the insurance company has not awarded a tire, so the client needs to come with their own tire.
Oh, it has happened.
Yes, it happens a lot. Now, once a client lets us know, we normally take it up. But for us, that communication is very key. So how the garage communicates with our clients is another red flag. And including simple things like, are they able to allow a client to actually see their vehicle? We do understand that most clients have never seen their vehicles when stripped.
Yeah.
Well, the word stripped is very strong, but still,
when it's been taken apart,
there's not a better way of putting it.
Yeah.
You know, I was short of using the word naked, but it's even stronger than stripped.
Yeah.
But most people actually have never seen their vehicle when the bumper is taken out.
Yeah.
Most parts are taken out, then it's remaining there like a skeleton. So you might even think the vehicle has been damaged further. But when we find a garage who is not even able to allow a customer, a client, to see their vehicle, even during repairs, then what my colleague was saying, engineer, was it means what is it they are hiding?
Okay. Yeah.
So that bit is very critical, yes.
Okay. So now, when you are explaining about that accident scene, something just came to my mind. We've had situations where there's been hit and run.
Yes.
Somebody hit you and took off. So then you're not able to show the other car and, accident scene. Maybe you didn't even take a number plate of the car that hit you. How do you come in to help the client to make sure that their claim is still paid?
Now, one of the immediate things I would like to say directly, that the motor cover that you have, the comprehensive policy that you have with us, covers what we would call accidental damage. And accidental damage means that really it's all the trigger for that coverage is an accident has happened. That's all you need to prove. That vehicle can incur an accident whether you are there or not. A tree can fall on it. You are not there. At the parking, somebody can bang it and you are not there. Then they move away. At the scene, it can happen when you are watching and that person goes away. There's no need for panic. All you need, the person we have allocated you, contact Minet. We will walk with you through the journey. But it's perfectly covered, so no cause for worries. Now, where hit and run happens, it boils back to what I had said earlier. How do we present this thing? Because it has happened. How do we present it? Is it you who hit somebody and you decided to run? Or somebody has hit you
and they've taken off?
And they have taken off. That bit is very critical. So if you have hit somebody and you take off, then you come and present it as if you are the one who was hit. Now, if the damages on the vehicle look like it's you who hit, the engineer will tell us that, there's always a huge difference when you hit something vis-a-vis when something hits you.
Oh, are you able to tell?
Yes, we can be able to tell by just seeing the direction of force.
Okay.
Yeah, of damage.
Yes. So how you then present that becomes very important.
Yeah.
So if you, at that point, you say you were hit, yet the damage on the vehicle indicates you are actually the one who was hit. Now drama starts from there. But the good news is when you come to us, you are open to us as your broker, as your claims professional. You tell us, then we will look at if you had, for example, taken the photos. Because we normally do surveillance also as soon as you have let us know that accident has happened. We will look at the kind of statement you have put in. Then we will ask you in a discussion forum, just like this one, very friendly, that really what you are describing and what we are seeing in the vehicle are a bit different.
Things.
So what exactly happened?
Okay.
Then, of course, it is upon us now to tell you that regardless whether you hit somebody or you are hit, you are covered. So there's no need of masking or changing the story. We just present it the way it is.
Okay.
Yes.
Now, another question. Right now, we have seen, or rather, recently, we have seen cases where when a vehicle, especially personal cars, hits a motorbike, there's also a risk of maybe having a gang up of other motorbikes coming
Yes.
onto the client. So now you have described a process where the client is supposed to come out, take photo, report, and all these things. And at that point, you're having all these other motorcycles surrounding you, being for your blood. What is your advice to the client at this point?
And I think I go back to where I started. Ensure you are safe first. I am happy with my client without the vehicle. Because that client of mine will buy a vehicle later on.
Maybe
so it's to keep safe first. That's the first thing. And two, in such kind of a mob kind of situation, because we know what normally happens. In that kind of a mob situation, first of all, that phone will also go.
True.
They'll take it. In fact, there's one of our colleagues who experienced that. As soon as they come out, you unlock the doors to check what is happening. Then you are surrounded. The car is ransacked. Everything in the car is actually stolen. So the proper way is, first of all, make sure you are safe. If the safety involves you fleeing away from the scene to save your individual self, I say, why not? Because it's the correct thing and proper thing to do. Then once you are a distance away, of course, there's the bit now you can call the police and you seek help and all that.
Does that also involve driving off? Because remember, you discussed about moving the car. So does safety also mean driving off?
It also involves driving off, but immediately after that, where are you driving off to? Ordinarily, in such kind of a situation, you should drive off to the nearest police station and you report what has happened. Yes.
And in case there's an injury, say you've hit the person on a motorbike and maybe you've caused some serious injuries, what happens?
Yes, now I'm assuming that they have not become wild. If they have not become wild now, the proper thing to do, we are all humans. There's the humanitarian aspect of everything. So if your vehicle is still in a motorable condition, from a humanitarian point of it, it's good to actually help this person to be well. And two, ordinarily there's a token cover on your motor policy that can take for emergency medical assistance. And this emergency medical assistance is where you have to incur to save a life of somebody and until they reach the hands of a professional doctor. That first aid element of it, that kind of situation, it will help. So for me, my advice is always let's preserve life. Because after all, it's just an accident. Yes.
Okay. Now, engineer, when we hit a GK, we have had situations where we are told there's a problem when you hit a GK, I don't know, there's no compensation and things like those. What is your advice?
At times, maybe if it's the police or even the army or the government official, at times they'll try to harass you, they'll try to fleece you, but you should always know you are covered, what you hit. Even if you hit the president, you are just covered. So just know, just know you are covered and it's an accident. So somebody should not try to fleece you or should not try to manipulate you, even maybe for some money or for anything. Just know you're covered and follow the requisite procedure. Go to the police station or you call the police.
But you hit the police in this case. So which police are you going to be calling?
Okay, first of all, you need to know, you need to tell them or you need to demonstrate to them you have information and you know that you are covered. So never allow yourself to be manipulated and never allow yourself to be fleeced in any kind of way.
But then does the comprehensive cover cover your vehicle and their vehicle?
Now, yes. You remember where we started from, the kind of covers that you have.
Yeah.
So when you are involved in an accident, comprehensive, it covers your vehicle. And in terms of the policy, in terms of the insurance cover wording that we use, that other vehicle is called property.
Yeah.
So it's third party's property.
Yeah.
So it is actually covered. The only thing is the process of claiming is a bit different when they bring theirs.
Okay.
Yes, theirs, they have to bring it in form of a liability. They have to do a demand to you. So your insurer will not respond in the first instance. So that's the process. But maybe let me just add something on the question when you hit a GK vehicle. Now, I think in Kenya today, I think we are miles ahead. The government mostly went through the leasing arrangements.
Yeah.
So you find that even though it has a GK plate, sometimes behind it, there's a civilian registration, and most of them are insured nowadays. But still there are those exceptions where you are involved with a GK vehicle. Your insurer will still get involved. Now, how they recover their cost after that, for you, you become sort of, you are relegated to a witness position. Should they decide to pursue it with the Attorney General or make a suit against the government, for you, you just remain as a witness.
Okay.
But a caveat I want to put here, when you hit the government vehicle, they normally come full force. The converse, when they hit you, sometimes it becomes tricky. But the good thing is nobody is above the law. The Traffic Act is very clear, and it talks about road users. At that point, there's no crown in road usage. At that point, the law makes us all equal.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So now as we go towards the end of this discussion, I know there's so much that, I was coming into my head as we were discussing, but we need to end and maybe have the rest in the next episode. What are some of the things that you'd advise our clients to do to make sure that their claim is paid? Just some checklist of some sort whenever they've been involved in an accident.
Yes. Now, for our client, for your claim really to be paid, the first thing, have a trusted advisor on your side.
Yeah.
And Minet, we are there to do exactly that. Because we will guide you on the kind of documentation that you need to provide.
Yeah.
We will guide you on the best way to present your claim to the insurance company. We will guide you on the kind of benefits that are available to you on that policy. And we will also guide you, we will help following up the claim to ensure that the insurer is doing the correct things and you are paid within the correct timelines. So that is very critical. And in addition to that, even as we do all this, you see, claims normally sometimes goes beyond what the insurer has paid. The liabilities, for example, as somebody who decides to sue you, they may do so maybe 2 years later. What is your role? And another scenario that goes beyond the time the insurer has paid you, when, for example, your vehicle is totaled, it's written off. It means the insurer maybe will sell it to a salvage buyer. Then what happens there? So my message is simple. You need Minet on your side so that we walk that journey with you, because we are experienced at every stage of the claim. And the claims involve so many parties. For example, we just talked about a simple motor accident where somebody else is involved. Say with the motorcycle. Suddenly, you have the owner of the motorcycle, you have the rider, you have the police, you have the insurance company, you have an assessor, you have an investigator, and you see the list goes on and on. And each of these parties, they have their own expectations.
Yeah.
We are experienced to manage all of that. And as a lay person, when exposed to all these persons, all of them making noise to you, the confusion even just goes higher and higher, and you are likely to lose your claim, not because of your making, but because you lacked a trusted advisor on your side.
Okay.
So we are there for you.
All right. Now, if someone else is driving my car
Yes.
and they get involved in an accident, will you still pay, or would you say the owner of the car was not driving it?
I ask, why not? Why not pay?
Okay.
Because it's simply, you see, a vehicle
Is what was covered.
No, wait. You see, as the owner of the vehicle, you can either be using it yourself or you can authorize somebody to use it. And again, I say just around that is when you come to Minet, we are able to figure out all this. You know, sometimes some companies will give you where if you are the owner of the car, they name you as the specific driver. So if somebody else is driving, suddenly there's no coverage. But the kind of policies that we almost give a standard in Minet is that any authorized driver, so long as the owner of the vehicle you have confirmed that you authorized that person to drive, you are covered. Of course, the only caveat is a matter of law that that person should be a licensed driver.
Okay.
They should be allowed by law to drive
Okay.
the road, yes.
Drunk person driving
Yes.
a car and then they get an accident. Do they get compensated?
Very interesting. You know, insurance, when it comes to matters of law, it becomes a very tricky affair. Now, what does the law say? That somebody should not drive under the influence. Now, influence of what has always been a debate, but in a majority of cases, it is influence on any drug, alcohol included, that is not prescribed by a doctor. Now, there's always been a big debate that what is the right quantity to hamper the judgment during driving.
Yeah.
But the law just talks about influence.
Yeah.
So when it comes to insurance, the insurer, all they need to establish that you are driving under the influence, be it of alcohol or be it of any other drug that hampers with your fair judgment. Yes. And if it is established that way, then definitely that claim is likely to be rejected.
Okay. I think there's so much to discuss around motor vehicle claims and insurance because we haven't even touched PSVs.
Yes.
And what happens when a PSV gets an accident? Do the passengers get compensated? But last,
yes,
tell the clients the difference between third party and comprehensive.
Okay, thank you. And, you know, that bit is very important. But let's start with the comprehensive first. You know, comprehensive, the word comprehensive, it only means several insurance covers have been brought together into a single policy. Now, the several covers that have been brought there are the ones that are focusing on covering the vehicle itself, and also there's the bit that covers persons who are not the owner of the vehicle, who are not the vehicle itself. So that can be in the form of property damage or injuries. So when you have comprehensive, you are covered for when somebody else is also injured or you damage the property. Plus your own vehicle. Now, when you have third party only, and that's often prescribed by law, it means the liability I'm complicating it by saying liability.
Yes,
What would be demanded from you by another person? The claim on you by another person for using that vehicle in a way that has caused them some form of harm or has damaged their property.
Say that
That's
again.
the only thing that is covered.
Say that again. I think say it in a way that those of us who are not very technical can understand.
Third party only covers only those claims that are made against you.
Okay, so it doesn't
for
cover
using your vehicle.
Okay.
Yes. Only claims made against you by other people other than yourself.
Okay.
Yes.
So if it's my car against engineer's car, it's only engineer's car that is going to be covered, not mine.
Yes.
All right. Okay. Thank you. I think we will have to do a part 2 of motor vehicle insurance claims, especially because we are going towards the festive season. A lot of travel is going to begin. A lot of people are going to be driving long distance, and they need to know what they are covered for. A lot of maybe motor vehicle insurance covers are also coming to an end. People are thinking about renewal. So it's an important conversation and very timely. But for the sake of our viewers, we are going to have a part 2. And I think during part 2, we're going to discuss passenger service vehicle, PSVs, so that we can discuss now what happens when it's public vehicles and how do they claim and how do the people who are carried in those vehicles get compensated in case of an accident. But Thank you so very much for joining us again. We hope that this is going to be very educative to the public, to our clients, and to our potential clients. We look forward to having a second part of this. Once again, it has been Bima Beamer, and thank you so much for listening. Till next time.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right.